They just say you're monkeys, like go back to your country, you're stealing our jobs, you don't deserve this.
He basically told me what he thought of me, like, you know, he told me to go back to where I came from.
And they were like throwing rocks, and then you don't deserve to be in Ireland. And
they don't really understand how it hurts.
Yeah, well, he's black, you can't play with him. I said, of course I can play with him, like, he's my friend, it doesn't matter. Like, I have a heart, he has a heart, I've two eyes, he's two eyes.
I'm Diana Bonici and welcome to Show Racism the Red Card, an initiative set up to tackle racism in sport and society. In this video, we will hear all about racism. What is it? How does it affect people? What should you do if you are experiencing it? And what people all around the country in sports clubs and organisations, as well as schools, are doing to tackle it.
Show racism the red card.
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 Show racism the red card. Show racism the red card. Show racism the red card. Yeah!
Racism is a word we hear all the time in the press, in school and online. But what exactly is it and how do we recognise it?
Kolar caught in possession by Andrews. Andrews for Cox. Cox with Walters in the middle. He scored!
Yeah, there's obviously chanting, there's signs and signals, and but it could be anything. It doesn't have to be aimed at one specific person. It could be aimed at, you know, a group of people. It's a form of bullying. It's I personally think it's a cowardly act. I think it's somebody who's could possibly be an insecure person who's trying to stand out in front of their friends, and it's a way of sort of being the bigger person in front of somebody else.
Simon Cox found the narrow angle. Back inside to Strauss. He's got support from O'Brien. O'Brien stretches and he's in.
Racism is, you know, it's obviously a very bad thing, but in my opinion, it's something that, you know, that's not acceptable in any form or in any organisation or you know, in any sport, and it's a thing that you know, should be definitely stamped out, and shouldn't be tolerated throughout anything. It's a form of defence, maybe, you know, when things don't go their way, or you know, the people who obviously give that type of abuse, you know, probably shouldn't get the respect they have.
It's all over. Dublin have won the All-Ireland. The most dramatic, the most wonderful of finishes.
Growing up, I would have played a number of different sports, whether it's soccer, GAA, football and hurling. I mean, Jason Sherlock is a good friend of mine, and I would have played on the Dublin team with him for the guts of 10 years, and I'm aware that he would have suffered it from time to time in the past. I think racism maybe comes from the home. It comes through a lack of understanding of what it is.
When I was obviously younger, I was probably one of the only black people in my school, so in my area even. So yeah, you did encounter it, you know, and obviously when as kids and when you're younger, people kind of see it as fun, and you know, people get a laugh and a kick out of it. So people would jump on the bandwagon. But I was lucky enough to have, you know, boys on my team and my friends that would stick up for me.
Racism is, in my opinion, using words or gestures that are deliberately designed to insult another individual by way of referring to their background or their ethnicity.
Racism is kind of, I feel like, is making people feel bad about the way they live, their cultures, and like picking up things that's different.
say if you grew up in a family where they're racist, it impacts you and you become racist as well.
I think some Irish people don't actually believe that they're racist, even though they might say something. Like, the way I look at it, if you're going to call me that, that's what you think of me, you're a racist. But I think in their head, I'm not a racist.
I think lack of knowledge, maybe lack of understanding, lack of education, probably a bit of fear. Sometimes when we meet differences in any situation in life, we can be challenged by it, and our norms are challenged. So I think we need to make difference more normal in Irish society.
Show racism the red card.
Show racism the red card.
Unfortunately, racism is real and happens in Ireland. It can be difficult to know how to approach it, but there are positive steps you can take. Here is a story about a group of determined kids from Raphoe and their response to racism.
Well,
Well, suppose we have different nationalities in the school, and you know, different in the area as well. There would be different religions, and we really like. I suppose we have an ethos where we try to promote respect for everybody. They were seeing racism and debates about racism on the TV and in Premiership matches, so we just began to sort of talk about it and thought entering Show Racism the Red Card would be a really, really good thing to do.
Well, we kind of like talked about it in the class. Everybody came up with different ideas and then we voted on the best one. So that was the mosaic, so that's what we did.
We decided to make a mosaic, and so the first thing we had to do was come up with a picture for the mosaic.
And it was a picture of Jeff the ref holding the Show Racism the Red Card. And then we got it blown up into different wee cards.
Then on these cards we had St Eunan's National School supports Show Racism the Red Card, and we asked people to sign that they supported us in doing that.
Then we had to send all our different cards out to people who can make a difference, and when we got them back we had to stick them back on the board again like a jigsaw puzzle.
Politicians and sports stars and
Martin O'Neill, Alex Ferguson, Barack Obama, Michael D. Higgins.
I think it was 235 cards got sent back to us. So every morning in the post, whenever the postman came, he was coming with envelopes. So each day the children were getting letters from these very influential people.
It was quite exciting, we just couldn't wait till we just saw the envelope coming in the door. We just teared it apart and got the card, stuck it on the board.
And I think it really enforced positively that, you know, the managers, you know, in high positions do care about showing racism the red card.
Show racism the red card! Yeah!
And well done to St Eunan's in Raphoe. But what about racism in sport? What happens when racism hits the pitch? When Lee Chin, a Wexford footballer, was racially abused in the middle of a game by an opposing team member, he decided to speak out. Here is his story.
It breaks down, and it's Lee Chin. Plays it forward here as far as Eric Bradley.
It was the second round of the championship in our group. We were playing against the Duffy Rovers. I scored a goal, and I kind of, you know, celebrated with it. And one guy jumped up and he called me a black bastard. And we just kind of got on with, you know, and the referee came in. He was called in by the umpire. The umpire explained to him what was happening. Our referee gave the guy a yellow card and gave me a yellow card for, you know, I couldn't understand that. It makes me feel awkward in the presence of it, alright, because I'm just kind of waiting for it to happen again and happen again, but it kind of makes me frustrated, yeah, but it don't affect me. I don't let it come into my game and put me off my game, so I kind of just deal with it. You know, I have to put up with it, I suppose, and then that's it. I'm there to do my job, and that's what I'm going to do. Well, after the game, you know, there was a lot of people that were in shock over it, and a lot of people were disgusted, and my local club was very supportive too, and they did say, we're going to bring this further, we won't be tolerating that. And I think, in fairness to the Duffy Rovers club, they cooperated with our club and the GAA, and they brought the two guys forward. The ban that both of them got was an 8-week ban, and that was it. I was kind of happy in my own way knowing that there was something being done about it, but I just didn't think it was enough, in the sense where I was being abused this way in a game, and these guys were allowed to continue to play the game. Well, it could have happened umpteen times again in that game, you know, they're allowed to continue, you can be arrested on the street for that kind of stuff, let alone play away in a game for it, you know. And I kind of felt very, very like there was no one behind me, in the sense if that's happened to me again, nothing's going to be done about it. But they're putting stuff into action now about they're wanting to make it a red card offence, and they're wanting to bring them rules into the game. So I was very happy about that, you know, to hear that kind of stuff, and it's kind of emotion now.
You don't like to see it in the game. You want to cut out as much as you can, and obviously I think it's starting to take place. We've cut it out a lot more, and obviously you hear of it now and again, but I think we've done so well recently, and I think everyone's against it.
The GAA, unlike other sports, probably hasn't had to deal with as many of these incidents in the past, but that's not to say that we need to be extremely vigilant, and of course we do. We've seen some incidents in the past 12 months, and one of these incidents is one too many.
Show racism the red card.
Show racism the red card.
So by now you're getting a clear idea of what racism is, what it looks like and what it sounds like. And unfortunately for the people that are experiencing it, there are huge consequences. Not only does it lead to isolation, but it can have huge emotional scarring. A few of the students here at Adamstown Community College and Blakestown told us about their experiences.
It's just so mean, and like how people treat other people, and just because of their culture and where they're from and their colour. It's just like you don't realise how it can affect somebody like forever if you say one bad thing.
I play camogie, and it's like so many times I've got so many abuses, like, go back to your country, you're not meant to be playing this game, you're not Irish, and they call you the N-word, go back to your country, you shouldn't be here.
They just say you're monkeys, like go back to your country, you're stealing our jobs, you don't deserve this, your skin tone is horrible.
In primary school, I used to always get slagged for being foreign, and people used to always call me a foreigner and tell me to go back to my own country. When I wanted to like hang out or play a game with them, like they'd always say, no, you're a foreigner, you're not Irish.
I was in the car going to school with my dad, and these boys threw eggs at us. Some people just, do get over it. There's some other people that are angry about it and they keep it inside, like thinking everyone is just racism to them.
It's just that the people who are being racist to other people really don't know. Like, they don't really understand how it hurts. It started in my state, where you see everybody's playing football, and then like some people are good. They come to you and they call for you, and then you come out, you play with them, and then when their other friends come and be like, why are you playing with this kid? He's different color, like, why are you playing with him? He's supposed to be playing with his own friends.
It affects people in different ways. Some people take it to heart and some people don't. It can affect them, like they can like probably take their life and abuse themselves.
I felt really unwanted and upset, and like I went home, I'd always tell my mum about it, and my mum would tell me not to mind them, but I still got offended and I wouldn't come to school some of the days.
Like I was here at a meeting not too long ago, and like there was one girl and she was basically bullied in school about it, and she told me like at 10 years of age she kind of felt suicidal, like she told her parents that she didn't want to be here anymore. And
as long as there's people that are being racist, I think we've got a big problem on our hands.
It hurt when they said bad stuff like that to me. Sometimes when someone says that you're black, I don't really feel good anymore. I don't feel like I want to go to school. I don't feel like I want to do anything. I just feel like staying at home.
Show racism the red card.
Show racism the red card.
It's vital that we deal with racism the right way. If you are experiencing racism, here are a few key do's and don'ts. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't get involved in a fight or an argument, and do tell a parent, guardian, teacher, or anyone else that you can trust. Remember, racism is always unacceptable, and if we're smart and we use our heads, we can deal with it in the right way.
I would advise somebody who has been subject to racial abuse in a team sport or around their work environment to speak out and speak out freely, because I feel that if we can stamp it out as quick as possible and identify the individuals that are doing it, then we'll have a better working environment as a group of people.
I'd say the first thing would definitely be to tell someone, not to be frightened of what would happen.
First and foremost, I think they should probably go home and tell their parents and tell the teachers, and not to be shy about telling anyone, because there's no place for it. It's not nice for anyone to get bullied, so it shouldn't happen, and it definitely should be reported.
The only really advice you can give to someone is you wouldn't like it if it was happening to you. No, you don't want to be bullied, nor would you like someone else to be bullied. And, obviously you've got to stand up for your friend if he's a quiet, shy young person, and you might have to tell a teacher, maybe a parent, obviously, to look after him and make sure that he, feels okay, and because it can get people down, and it's not nice.
It doesn't have to be at a football match. It could be in a playground, it could be out in the street or anything like that. I would go to a person you trust, and I would report the incident to them. And the easiest thing is to do nothing. But the hardest thing is actually to report it. And people will think a lot more of you when you actually report it.
First things first, tell somebody, tell the guardian. In the school it'll be tell the teacher, and on the football pitch it'll be tell your manager or tell the referee.
Be an individual,
don't be afraid. If someone calls you out, you think to yourself, I did a good thing. I stopped this person being bullied.
When it happens, people need to say something, and people need to make sure that it's not tolerated in schools, in clubs, in sport, in any aspect of Irish society. Because it's like anything, if nobody stands up and says anything about it, it will just continue.
It needs to become socially unacceptable. We need to ensure that it's a social taboo. In the same way that years ago driving your car without putting on your seatbelt is unacceptable, in the same way as smoking in pubs is unacceptable anymore. It requires a cultural change, and I think it's very important that takes place sooner rather than later.
Show racism the red card.
Show racism the red card.
Ireland is changing like never before, and our population is now more diverse than at any other time in Irish history. Our diversity is something that we should be proud of, and it should be celebrated, for our society, our culture, and our sport is a lot richer for it. Let's hear from some more young people and sports stars about the positive impacts of living in this new integrated Ireland.
I think Ireland is almost unrecognisable nowadays compared to what it was 10 or 20 years ago. There's a lot of cultural differences and a lot of people coming in with different backgrounds.
There's a lot of different nationalities and all here now, and for GAA I think it's a brilliant thing where GAA was once only played in Ireland and now it's in America, it's in Spain. You know, there's a lot of, and the Irish should be proud of this.
In terms of actual athletes, I mean, people from different backgrounds and ethnicities bring their own natural talents and abilities, so we can all learn from each other.
Kind of gives Ireland an insight into different cultures. You know, we've been behind the places like America and England, but now we're starting, there's different people from all over the world, different countries and all that stuff. You're seeing, like, you're meeting new people that you probably never thought you would have spoken to before in your life. Like, it used to just be Irish talking to Irish, and even when the few different people did come into the country, they weren't really mixing with the Irish, or the Irish weren't mixing with them more so. But now you see people mixing every day, it's good.
Great to have so many cultures coming over from all over the place, and obviously it's difficult for them to come over and obviously to learn the language and speak the language we're all speaking, and obviously it's you want to make them as welcome as you can.
With people coming from different countries, they'll bring over new experiences, new obviously work talents and that, and obviously will help Ireland develop as a country and as a place.
We're very lucky to be in a place where there's so many nationalities and we get to learn from them.
Even when we have, say, history, and other people have to say like where they're from and how they grew up, it's just so interesting to hear. And we're like, it would be so boring if we were all the same.
You know, we are as one in this world. We all try and do the same things as everybody else, and we all try to get by as comfortably as possible. And listen, we're all the same people, regardless of skin colour, regardless of race, regardless of nationality.
So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. For more information, check out our website below. And don't forget, show racism the red card.
Everybody wants to play, and when you've got, I can see it, I can feel it.
It's important so people.
By now you're getting a clear idea of what racism is, what it... Okay. That was really unstable.
No, put that off and just...
This is the line. Yeah.
Oh, shocking.
That's right. That's as far as I got.
Yeah, thank you very much.
How much you hurt, don't let me fall, facing